congratulations on a really lovely exhibition.
Thanks a lot.
Could you take us on a little tour?
Sure. This way. This is a great kind of gallery because you can see stuff as you drive past. This is really recent stuff that I did probably about 2 weeks ago. And those leaves over here, you know, just the finished product of what you filmed last time. I'm really happy with how they turned out actually. You know, from when you came they were just starting and they really sort of, they've manifested really like more than I could have hoped for, you know. They've really come up well in my mind, you know. Trying to get something out of your head is really hard, so that came up really well. I wasn't thinking of doing anything this big really, and it just all sort of came about by accident, and it was a really nice accident. I was going to do 3 paintings and I put the paintings all up together and then I spilled a whole bunch of leaves all over them and it looked really good sitting on the ground like that, and so I made the 3 paintings into one. Nice little accidents like that I think help the creative process so you're not in total control. It's called I Am the Wind. I'm not really too hung up on the names of paintings. I just think of something and it sort of describes it quite well because it's like a gust of wind and kind of looks like leaves like on water or maybe, you know, stars in a galaxy or something or other. This is the first one that kind of happened in the series and it's very different to the other ones. I really like it. Just because it's really thick and chunky, it's like, you know, really natural. It's quite a lot more natural than the other ones. I really want to encourage people to actually touch them. You know, they're quite dense and you can kind of tell they're actually quite hard. They're going to last a while at least. They might fall apart a bit, but I think they'll get better in time as they sort of slowly biodegrade, you know, so they start to sort of break up a bit. And it's hard to convince people of something like that, you know. Don't worry, it'll look good when it falls apart, but I think it will. It'll make it look more natural, I reckon. This one's part of 3 paintings. This one and the other one is in the other room, but so the 3rd one isn't here. Actually, you saw this in the studio last time you were there. Yeah, good to see it up on a wall. I think I talked about it last time. Yeah. We go, there's a few more up this way. When they get up on the wall finally, it's sort of, it's really good to see because I don't have any space in my studio to look at them on walls at all really because everything's sort of up against the wall and finally when you get to see it up there it's a relief. Yeah, I really like this one, but it's really different from anything I've ever done and I don't know if I'd ever do anything again like it. But I like that. I like one-off kind of stuff. And these ones here are unfinished, but they were around at the time when the art dealer said, "Oh, look, I like your work. Let's show it." So I just decided to show them anyway. They're not too far off. Like they're quite, you know, they're on their way, but they're not totally finished. So that's another kind of one-off. I just like little abstract kind of compositions and stuff. I like to paint a lot of different kinds of paintings. Now I'm getting into doing series like this one and that one as part of the same series as the one that's the first one we started on outside. I'm really enjoying doing series, actually having a strong enough idea to put it over several canvases. But I'll never tire of doing different kind of work. I really like to keep myself interested and just keep doing different things. That's why there's always my shows always look like a bit of a group show because you know it looks like a few different artists have done stuff. But I find this interesting that this empty space here represents where a painting used to be, and the painting is now in somebody's living room. There's a few people interested in the leaf ones, all of those ones that we just looked at actually. So I'll give you an update on how that goes, I guess. That one was done really, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, and it's just, I always liked it, and it's just stuck with me a long time, and I've really tried to sell it, but I haven't got anywhere. But it's nice. It's a really good painting, and I've just sort of brought everything in, like it's just a bit of a mixed show. That one's actually quite similar to the series that are in the window, and similar to that gold one as well with the wood. Similar feeling to it. That one was actually on on the invitation of an exhibition last year. That was part of the same show as that big one with the moon. Sort of like a space kind of theme, I guess. Like sorts of strange kind of starburst kind of things going on.
Well, congratulations on a really lovely exhibition.
Thanks a lot, Jen.
As you know, I'm a great fan of you.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours too, Jen.
Thanks.
No worries.
I'll see you when you've done an update on attendance.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for being interested as well. You know, it really means a lot to me. Sweet as.
Hi, my name's Vee Malnar and I'm here to talk to you today about a show called Rock Chicks, which I actually did about a year ago, wrote and produced it and put it on at Tap Gallery. There's a lot of things you could have gotten away with. It was a show about an all-girl band, their ex-porn star manager, a feminist, a dyke, a frazzled husband and a screaming baby on a crazy North Coast tour in search of one paid gig.
I called him Orgasmo! It is so exciting! We could end up playing.
It was a comedy. Actually putting it on a stage and having it played in front of a live audience to see how it worked, to see how the scenes worked, to see how the characters worked. They really it was, you know, really brought to life on doing it in live theatre than just perhaps going and filming it straight away, because it is comedy and you have to know what the audience is going to be finding funny, where they're going to laugh at certain things. And what we did find was that they actually did find a lot of it very funny, which was great.
We're going to be performing inside a giant vagina!
How it all really began was that this CD was made called F, which has 18 funny songs about men and being a housewife and bad relationships and all those wonderful things. And this album was done around about 1997, 98. And from the album and all the writing that I'd done based on being in girls' bands, it suddenly came together as being a kind of a play or show, and that's what Rock Chicks became.
The minority group! The amazing, hot, sexy Rock Chicks! Make something soothing and sexy.
Actually, I co-founded a band called the Strumettes with Kathy Cox, and we started that in Wollongong when I was at uni there. And so we wrote songs like I'm so tired from having so much to do, you know, the boss gives me heaps and there's nothing really new, and whinge, 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 whinge. We wrote a lot of songs and we played them in pubs, and we set the stage we draped it with washing and clothes and ironing boards and irons, and we made the stage look like a domestic scene with washing baskets and things. And the percussionist actually had a clothes rack. She used the clothes rack and she pegged all her percussion instruments to it, as well as a few socks. and you know, and we wore aprons and rubber gloves and played keyboards, and you know, so it's kind of like showing people that we're really very busy doing the housework most of the time, and that's my life. I do housework all the time, and in between I try and do creative things. So yeah, so we wrote all these songs, and we didn't actually make a CD back then. We, as a band, we sort of didn't have that much money, so but we did record a lot, and so I used a lot of the recordings from the drumettes and put it onto this new album with when the band broke up, the Strumettes broke up because well, the girls just ran off with their boyfriends to other parts of the country, and you know, there was no one left to play with.
'Cause I'm a natural beauty queen. Well, I don't go for those silicone breasts. I mean, they look good on their own, but they don't match the breast. A snip and a tuck and a pull over here. When does it end with the toes? Meets your ear.
And it's taken quite a few years to get there, so it's not a simple thing of just going, oh well, I'm just going to write something funny and film it and it's going to be great. It really has taken quite a few years to write the music, the original scores, and then to, you know, to turn it into a show where it gets played in front of a live audience, and then to turn it into something that's going to be, you know, a short half-hour TV series, and hopefully one day a movie.
I'm sorry, I thought I'd be okay by the time I got here.
Maybe you should talk about it.
I bloody know. I cooked dinner. The table was beautifully laid out, and John agreed last week that he'd stay home and look after the baby. Well, he was an hour late. He said I never told him about our practice and that I should give up the band. It was taking up too much time, and that we were just crap anyway. And then he took off for a drink down the pub, and on his way out he told me to get he said I was a hopeless musician.
The idea of mothers and you know, the whole housework thing, and how one juggles creativity and being a mother, having children, going out to work and doing all that, because it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, you have your day job, you've got your kids, and then you've got to go out and play music in a pub at night. So you've got to sort of, you know, make sure that you've got the babysitter available, or your best friend, or whatever.
You know, it really makes a difference if you go on tour. This band I knew were playing for years in Sydney and going nowhere. One little trip to Newcastle, everybody knew them. That's what we should do.
So your message is feminist?
Yes,
No.
we're ball breakers.
Hi, I'm Anne Barber. I'd like to talk to you about the Edna Ryan Awards. The Edna Ryan Awards are organised by the Women's Electoral Lobby, and they're held annually. This year, they will be held on the 5th of May, the presentations, and the nomination for awards close in April. And this is a copy of the flyer that you'll be able to get if you visit the Well New South Wales website. It's easy to find if you just go through the Google search and just look for Well New South Wales. What we're endeavouring to do with the awards, and this is now the 9th year of the awards, is to celebrate the work of feminists. We find all too often that the work of women working for other women in the community and other different areas largely goes unrecognised. So WELL has devised this means of not only remembering the life of Edna Ryan, but of recognising the work of feminists. The nominations for 2006 will close on the 7th of April. We have 10 categories for the nominations, and the first is media/communications. This has been broadened from just media because the communication aspect is very important for feminists. There's community activism, government, workforce, humour, arts, battling, education, mentoring, and the final one is the grand stirrer. To be eligible to be considered for an Edna Ryan Award, you have to have lived and or worked in New South Wales or the ACT, and not to mind being called a feminist. To illustrate what happens during the award ceremony, we've got a clip from what happened in the year 2000, which we think you'll enjoy.
Creativity can be a solitary existence, but she did something about it. First, she established a network of women artists, started a newsletter, invented the travelling suitcase exhibition of women artists, which has now been to Grafton, New Zealand, the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, Tasmania, many parts of Sydney, to the People's Republic of China, the United States and the United Kingdom. In this very creative community activism, tonight's award winner then began a women's film archive and launched new books on feminist artists, developed a women artists TV show, organises the Earth Women Environment Exhibition and Women and Earth Conference, and also the Women Earth Conference and Film in Russia. So we've got people tonight who are extending from the local to the global. This year, our award winner has now completed 26 episodes of the School of Women Artists Network, SWAN, for community television, and is part of 2 exchange exhibitions at the Sydney College of the Arts. As you can see, tonight's award winner for community activism operates very much within the local global community. She is an inspirational community activist whose commitment to women and the environment and to women artists has met with the creative feminist responses wherever she goes. She is trying to change the ways we look at the world as creative feminists. May I present to you Jan Wood from the School of Women Artists Network. Jan.
Yeah, I thought this person was being so busy, and I thought forgetting it was me. Now, one of my swans, Joy Barrett, is curating the travelling suitcase exhibition. She can't be here tonight because she's in Melbourne. But she rang me up about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and she said, Jan, do you know what you've done? And I go, no. She says, you have done something so extraordinary. I have never seen a thing like this travelling suitcase, where it is I've never seen a place where women can talk in a woman's voice from a woman's heart in a very safe place. And you have hundreds and hundreds of these in your collection. So she said, what you've done, you have validated a women's life experience, wherever these suitcases have gone. But she said, not only have you done that, but all those people that you filmed, and I must have filmed hundreds of people in my archives, she said, what you've done, you've validated their experience as well. You've said to them, your story is important, and, so I was a bit chuffed, and I hadn't really looked at it like that. So I did go away and think about it, and I thought how important it is that we validate each other and how we validate what women do, because so many of the things that women do are invalidated. But anyway, in the fit of that, feeling validated like that, and it was so nice. At the same time, it was a few days later, I began to feel terribly invalidated. Something happened to me that really hurt my feelings, and it hurt because I hadn't realised before about the validation and the invalidation thing. And so I thought back over the last 10 years and all the work that I've been doing, and I thought to myself, quite often it's women who invalidate other women. And when you think, now I'm researching the suffragette movement, and I thought to myself, well really, the women didn't get the vote. Women didn't get into Parliament because women wouldn't elect them in there. Women wouldn't go to a female doctor because they thought the male doctor was smarter. So there's a whole big undercurrent in our collective consciousness that is all back to front to how it should be. It was a real dark and despair day, and I was sitting there and I thought to myself, oh, it's not worth it, I can't do it anymore, this is too much. And in the middle of it, Gail Hewison ran up and she said, I've nominated you for Edna. And the sun came out. And I was around at the feminist bookshop so fast with my newsletter, I was so embarrassed. But anyway, I wanted to thank you. And I wanted to thank the people who actually started the Ednas. I see it as a very, very important thing that you're doing here tonight. Women's Electoral Lobby, may I take my hat off to you. I think this is a very important and wonderful event. Anyway, and I'd like to just thank two more people, which is my mum, who's the sponsor on my TV show, and she has been such through it all, my mum has validated everything that I've done. And so is my husband, who's my best friend, and I really have cost the poor guy a fortune. But anyway, thank you. And I just wanted to say one more thing. Right on, sisters.
Now, if you have a large body of unused water, one way you can utilise it is to turn it into a fish pond. So, this used to be our 35,000 litre swimming pool. It's about 3 feet deep at that end and about 5 feet deep at this end. And that's Billy. In the world there are dog people, I found out. There are cat people. There's fish people. I'm turning into a fish person. There's bird people. And there's reptile people. So you also need a body of water that no one's going to be terribly upset about if they come home and they can't swim in it anymore. So the worst that can happen is, if your little experiment with the swimming pool or your body of water doesn't work, you have to turn it back into a swimming pool. It used to cost us about $850 a year in chlorine, so my budget was $850. I first saw the Dowager's Pavilion in Bunnings, and I knew I had to have it. and I've decorated it with knickknacks from Vinnie's and whatever. And my installation is based on a Chinese theme. I'm modelled on the Chinese gardens at Darling Harbour. So with my Chinese theme, anything you see that isn't organic is probably made in China.